right?
So I could agree with Laisha on the aspect of it. The answer is not necessarily women staying home with the baby. I think it's more so the involvement of the father, whatever that looks like, whether she's staying home or not. And we can't get away from the fact that most of us are raised by a single mother. And there was some mention of people mismanaging the money, but the median income for a single black mother is like 38,000. The average rent for a one bedroom is 21,000 a year. That leaves you at a great disadvantage. So you are already behind the eight ball with that. So I think one of the main things that we could do is to make sure that the father is in the life of the child. So that involves two things. For one, men don't lie with women unprotected who you don't plan on co-parenting with, and women be very selective of who you give your world to, because there's going to be children that are going to suffer the consequences for it. And that's one thing that we ignore. And all the statistics show that when a father's in a life, that they likely are not going to become a degenerate. But if they are not, then they fail in every measurable category possible. So that's, I think, where we could start. Because if the father was having those conversations with his children, sometimes those awkward conversations, and it's not something that has to happen every day, but it should be something that's addressed. And if you have that type of influence over the child, then a lot of the things that the kids are teaching them in school will go right past them. They'll understand that your influence is going to overpower anybody who they encounters,
So you're saying
including
that
some of these weird
if the
teachers.
father, so you're saying that the father's in their life, two-parent household, even if the kid has to go spend all of his time in daycare and all of that, or whatever, outside of the
Right.
house, you're saying that the things that's happening to these kids, the influence from the outside, it's not even effective.
Correct. And I'm sure you would feel like that about your children, as I would with mine. The influence from the outside can't penetrate the foundation that we set as parents. Absolutely, I believe that.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
like it's never been a perfect world out there. So if you don't have that good foundation, then you just screwed overall. But I was gonna say also, I don't think women will ever want to stay at home, at least not for the next 100 years or so. So I was gonna say if two parents have to work, or the lady wants to go to work because she don't want to be in the house, then how come a lot of us don't pay for services? So you have tutoring, you have all type of things to help your child. If you can't do it, then hire someone to do it. So whatever job you're trying to get, you better hope it's six figures and up, so you could afford these things. Because if not, it's just dismissing the child, and then we're having all these issues that we're talking about right now. You have to put your kids first. So if you're going to go to work, you should already have, oh, this is what I'm going to pay for. This is the things that my child will get into. Not I'm going to go to work and then you're thinking about all this stuff that you have to buy for yourself, or you're thinking about vacations. That type of stuff is not going to help your child. So they have to go through the 12 years of schooling. They have to pass, you want them to do well, right? Straight A's, if not straight B's, something. But they're not going to get it on their own. All teachers are not good. So sometimes you just have to outsource. A lot of
Well,
us are not outsourcing.
it
We're
seemed
just
like
like,
the problem with the outsourcing was I feel like when we were kind of talking about finances a few weeks ago, everybody was saying the average American income is like what, less than 60 or less than 50 or something like that. So what I even realized is like when we're paying for a nanny, we were paying for like us to have a nanny to go like on a date night or something. That was like 22 an hour. A lot of people don't make 22 an hour. Or you have people that literally are making 22 an hour and I'm paying you exactly what I make as well. People can't afford that. When we're talking about tutoring, like some really good tutoring places off the top of my head, we're talking about 200 and 300 a week. Like when we're talking about a contemporary or a lyrical dance or a ballet school that is going to actually prepare your child, like if your child has a true passion for it. I just saw that last week, looked at those prices. That was 300 to 400 for 2 classes a week. Like we want to do these things, but the problem comes in where people are saying, I can barely afford to like pay my rent and keep food in the house and pay my car note. And then when we start having conversations about why you can only afford to do that, then is when, I'm hearing that like, oh, well, the financial peak of people's lives isn't until a certain age. But by the time we reach that certain age, your kids are grown.
Well, this is the problem. So I think Darwin said this earlier. If you can't afford it, because this is the things that we have to think about. Like before you have the next child, I ain't talking about you, but just whoever, y'all better be planning these things because this is important. Would you want your child to stay at home all day? You know what I'm saying? You have goals for your kids before they're born. You have to think about what do I want for this child? They're gonna have their own interests, but I'm saying, what money do I have up front to fund these things? If you can't afford it, then that shouldn't be the lifestyle. You should not be out there working if you can't do it. Because if not, you go out there working, you're not going to be able to pay for these things, and your child is going to get left behind. The school systems do not care. Even if you put them in private schools, you might have a few good teachers, but for the most part, it's not even like that. I remember I put my child in a private school, right? I got blessed to have it for free. Okay. And I remember within 10 days of school, they was trying to skip my child from kindergarten to first grade. Right. I said, okay, cool. Because I homeschooled him. I already know what he knows. So I already figured they was going to say that he's advanced. The principal stopped my child from advancing because they felt he needed to stay with his social group. And I'm like, but his birthday is late. So technically he is behind. And they wasn't having that, like, because, this is just her policy or the policy of the school. And it was a new principal at that time. I just said that to say a lot of these organizations, they don't care. It's all about whatever they're trying to gain.
Yeah, they probably wanted your child to stay behind to help the test scores of that grade level. That's what that sounds like.
It's terrible.
So y'all think if let's pretend that there was no women in the workforce. Do y'all think that it have an impact on how much a man gets paid? Meaning there would be enough money left over and enough jobs to make sure men are paid a sufficient amount to take care of the entire household alone? Or do you think that people are just going to pocket the rest that they would have paid the women?
I think that kind of presents us with a race issue then, because so I find myself telling my husband quite often he's not getting paid what he's worth. And it's not like a woman can do his job even if like she wanted to. So I don't think that part of it isn't a gender issue. That's a race issue because they never want you to be on the same level as them. So I truly believe they would pocket it. They would tell you that this is the what's that word they use? Competitive pay. This is the highest income. This is the best you're gonna get. This is what we're giving you. This is what you should accept. And they would pocket that. I truly believe that because I watch it happen so many times where I'm like, the job you have, you're putting your life in jeopardy. Like other people aren't as good as you. And even though you're making what they're saying, they're paying the most, you're making the most out of everybody else that's on the contract. Why is it
before you try to go into the race issue or the inequality on pay between ethnic groups or whatever, could you answer that? Like, do you think that men
I
would?
think they would pocket it. I don't think that they would give it to y'all.
Well, what happened before then? Before women was in the workplace, was men at a place where they could take care of a household alone, or did women coming in the workplace cause an economic shift? Especially whenever you could tax the house twice.
But I feel like this
Tax
is
the
like a
household twice now.
completely different economy. Like the economy is so much worse right now. So of course, if it,
You don't think
like,
women coming in the workplace initially had anything to do with the economic shift?
like tax wise, yeah, but not like
Period. Wages, all that.
I've never looked at it like it took
You don't think it
money
caused any
away.
inflation or anything like? You don't think it caused any inflation? None of that. Had
Especially the
anything?
If you
women.
look at like the basic supply and demand curve with economics, if you have more workers for a market, then the price to pay can go down because they can spread it out, they can underbid, and more people are willing to work. So any influx of a group into a workforce would create just the same way a removal of a group should raise wages and make them more competitive because now it's contingent on will someone work for the amount you're paying. Are you talking, Darwin? I'm sorry. It's
No. I was responding to my wife. My bad.
But
Yeah,
what
yeah.
about the women? I guess to this point that he's bringing up, what about the women who are taking like the leadership roles? The leadership roles, makes money, but if the lady is in place of that, then that man, the man that is striving to get more money, he's not going to be able to get it because the lady took it instead of it. I mean, to this point that we're
Well,
talking
the
about.
whole point of the whole, I think I get what you're saying, but I think